And finally here, shorter episode today, but finally here, we have my Phantom Menace review. So there are going to be spoilers in this review, but I mean, it's been out since 1999, so you've probably seen it by now. And also, I want to say, if there's anything I can do to improve my reviews, please let me know in the comment section down below, because like I said, I'm doing these every day leading up to Rise of Skywalker. I'm going to do 2 Rise of Skywalker reviews, a spoiler and non-spoiler one, and I just want to get better at reviewing these movies, so let me know what I can do to make these reviews better. But my initial thoughts, or not my initial thoughts, I've seen it dozens of times, my thoughts on Star Wars: The Phantom Menace. I love this movie. I do. I think The Phantom Menace is a great movie. And a lot of people say it's boring and slow. It's nonstop action. There's maybe one section of, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes in the second act where there's a little bit of politics, but that's only 5 to 10 minutes. Everything else is just bam, action, right in your face the whole time. I think the acting is really great. Liam Neeson as Qui-Gon Jinn is fantastic. It stinks that he didn't get more time as Qui-Gon Jinn. We got him in this, obviously. He did come back for the Clone Wars, which was great, and I'm really hoping he does come back for the ObiWan Kenobi show on Disney+. I think he will, because the main thing that we know that Obi-Wan and Yoda did in those roughly 16, 18 years between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope is obviously they watched over Luke Skywalker, but the main thing they were doing was training to become a Force Ghost and training to live after death, which is what Qui-Gon Jinn was training to do as well. He died before he was able to finish his training, but remember, at the end of Revenge of the Sith, Yoda tells Obi-Wan that he's going to tell him how to talk to Qui-Gon Jinn and learn the power to become a Force Ghost. So we know that they learned it from Qui-Gon, and I think they're going to show that in ObiWan Kenobi, so I'm hoping that he does come back as Qui-Gon, but he was great. Ewan McGregor is fantastic as Obi-Wan, and he just gets better throughout the trilogy. He just gets better and better and better as time goes on, which is it's just amazing. And even though he has more of a smaller role in this movie compared to Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, he still does stand out to me. He was fantastic as Obi-Wan. This movie definitely showed that they did Obi-Wan justice when it comes to playing a younger Alec Guinness and making a younger version of Alec Guinness. They definitely did Obi-Wan justice. And the lightsaber fight, Duel of the Fates, is the second best lightsaber fight in Star Wars. My first favorite is Battle of the Heroes. I get into that more in my Revenge of the Sith review. That review is going to be so long because Revenge of the Sith, spoiler alert, my favorite movie of all time. So I'm going to talk about everything. But this battle is so amazing. And I see people complain that it's too choreographed. I mean, that makes sense, because these are trained Jedi and a trained Sith who have been fighting and training for years. And they're young, relatively speaking. I mean, Qui-Gon is a little bit older, but at the same time, he still has years and years and years of training and experience. Whereas with the original trilogy, Vader, one, is a robot, he's older, and Luke hasn't been training for a long time, so his moves aren't going to be fast either. So it makes sense why in this prequel trilogy, all the lightsaber fights are fast, whereas the original trilogy, they aren't. And this fight is just, from start to finish, is fantastic. The score in this movie, as with all the movies, are top-notch, but Duel of Fates is, I think, again, either second or third best Star Wars piece of music that John Williams has made. I think it fits so well, it's so iconic, and it goes so well with the battle. And the fact that they have a lot of Qui-Gon versus Darth Maul the whole time, making you think that Qui-Gon's going to be able to defeat Maul. We all know that eventually Qui-Gon's going to die, because we know that he's not in the original trilogy, whereas Obi-Wan is. But the fact that Qui-Gon the whole time is the one beating him, and then at the end, when Obi-Wan's trapped, you realize that, oh no, this is where he dies. And then, even though you really know he's going to die and that he's not going to survive to the original trilogy, his death and the way that Ewan McGregor plays it, where you can see the sadness when he screams no, and then right after the shields open, he goes to Maul full force, angry. I don't know if he's using the dark side there. I want to say maybe Obi-Wan was using the dark side there, but that's up for debate. He goes to Darth Maul full force, angry, and then George Lucas shows that Obi-Wan the fact that he wasn't cool, that he wasn't calm about the fight, and that he went to Darth Maul fully aggressive. The fact that backfired on him, I think that's just great visual storytelling. And then when he finally calms down, regains his focus, and uses the Force to jump up and catch Qui-Gon's lightsaber and then defeat Darth Maul, again, I think that's terrific visual storytelling. Now, also, this is the movie that introduces Anakin, young Anakin, to us. I think Jake Lloyd, and Ahmed Best, really, I'll talk about him in a second too, they got way too much hate for their roles. Jake Lloyd was what, 11? 8 in this movie? He's a kid. Kids aren't the best actors. That's just how it is. And I think he did really great for his age. I think he did really well. And I think a lot of people were way too harsh. You know, you can not like a character, and that's completely fine. You know, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. Movies and characters, they all hit people a different way. So maybe I love Obi-Wan and you don't. And that's fine. You're entitled to that opinion. But no one, and I mean no one, is entitled to bully and harass somebody, especially when it's an 8-year-old kid. So the fact that whenever I watch this, I think about that and think about what people did to Jake Lloyd, it's really saddening to think about because he's a kid. I mean, what else do you expect from a kid? I think you expect worse acting from a kid. I think Jake Lloyd did a terrific job playing Anakin, a terrific job with the material, and a terrific job for his age. And this isn't the movie that made Anakin my favorite character. That's Attack of the Clones. But in this movie, you can definitely, at least to me, you can definitely see that Anakin, you know, starting and beginning, and then transforms into Attack of the Clones. Now, Jar Jar. One of the most hated Star Wars characters. It's a really good character. I like Jar Jar a lot. I have seen this movie countless times. Throughout my entire life, I've watched this movie multiple times. I used to watch this movie, I used to watch all the Star Wars movies, but this one being included there, on a repeat when I was younger. And I still laugh at Jar Jar. I still do. And not like that's a dumb character kind of way. Like, no, like when he's supposed to be silly, when he's supposed to make the audience laugh, make the viewer laugh, I laugh. I like the Jar Jar character. I think he's a fun character. He's just a fun, silly character, and I like that. And I like the fact that the I guess I'll call it quote unquote comedy with Jar Jar, since not a lot of people agree with me. I like that the comedy with Jar Jar doesn't take away from any of the scenes. It doesn't make the movie a comedy in a sense that there's a lot of more dramatic and serious elements. Yeah, there's some fun elements too, right? There's some comedic elements when it comes to Jar Jar, but it's placed in ways that don't detract from the movie and don't make the movie a comedy and don't make a movie what it's not. And I like that a lot. And again, with Ahmed Best, with playing Jar Jar, he got way too much hate. There's a difference between the actors and the characters. An actor does all they can and they just do their best. Maybe their best doesn't make the character great. And that isn't necessarily their fault. That could just be who the character is and the writing. And that's what it was here with Jar Jar. Again, I like Jar Jar quite a bit. Not a lot of people did. That has nothing to do with Ahmed Best or his performance. It's just what George Lucas wanted Jar Jar to be. So Ahmed Best, again, no one should get bullied or harassed by people, especially for just doing their job and not being their fault at all. So same thing with Jake Lloyd. It's saddening to me, at least, when I watch this movie again, to think about everything that Ahmed Best was put through by people. And not even fans. Those people aren't even fans. They're just jerks. So it just stinks to me, but I really enjoy Jar Jar. When it comes to the side Jedi characters, I'm happy that they replaced the puppet Yoda with the CGI Yoda. I think CGI Yoda looks really good still. I think CGI Yoda holds up quite a bit, especially in Revenge of the Sith. But I think he holds up quite well. And there's a lot of CGI in the prequels and in this movie that still holds up today. I mean, clearly there's going to be some that doesn't hold up as well, but that's just how time progresses. You can't blame a computer in 1999 for not being a computer in 2019. So when you watch this movie and watching those kind of movies, you have to keep that in mind. So to me, the CGI that isn't as great as, say, an Avengers Endgame, it didn't take me out of the movie, and it didn't take away from the movie, because at the time, it was probably really good for the time, and you can't blame a movie for aging poorly when the technology wasn't up to date. And that being said, I think it's really cool how some CGI isn't really dated. Yoda, he looks terrific. The battle droids, I think, look really great. And just even Jar Jar doesn't look perfect, but he looks better than some stuff that's being put out now. So it's really neat to see that. And I think that like the side characters, Yoda and Mace Windu, didn't have a lot in this movie, but they were great too. I mean, Samuel L. Jackson, he's always great. It's always cool to think back and watch back and see that Samuel L. Jackson was in Star Wars. That's gonna be a great thing to just think back on. But he was great. I think Yoda was really great. Yoda was Yoda in this movie. He was just serious. He was a master. He was a teacher, and I think that worked really well. And the pod race scene holds up so well. It's such an exciting and fun scene. It really is. It's one of the best things to come out of Star Wars, I think. And I think a lot of people who maybe not like the prequels and don't like the Phantom Menace would still agree that the Phantom Menace was, or the pod race, I should say, was really fantastic and a really great scene. And it still is to this day. And it's a still really exciting scene. It's just the sport of it all, the hype in the beginning with the announcers going to the fight itself, where there's no music, just the sounds of the pod racers going through the race is great. The struggle with Anakin, seeing how he gets through everything, is great. Showing, not telling, that he's a powerful Force user, that he is the chosen one. I mean, they do tell throughout the movie he's the chosen one, right? He's like the most midichlorians. He can see things before it happens. It's a Jedi trick. He's the only human that can pod race. I mean, obviously they do tell at some points, but that's called exposition. They have a lot of show, don't tell in this movie, and I think that's fantastic. And there's a lot of callbacks to this movie. There's a lot of references. I think that's something that George Lucas did really well when it comes to the prequels, is that there's a lot of mirrors, there's a lot of callbacks, there's a lot of references to other things that happen in the original trilogy, and even in the prequels to each other. They reference each other, they connect to each other, they call back to each other a lot. And I think that's really cool. And one of the big things, obviously, is the fact that Luke and Anakin come from the same planet. It's supposed to be a mirror. And I like that a lot. And what I enjoy is that even though Anakin, he wanted to get off this planet, he didn't want to leave his mother, whereas with Luke, he wanted to leave. He wanted to get out of there. He wanted to leave his aunt and uncle and go join the rebellion. I think that was really, even though they kind of mirror each other, that's a pretty interesting contrast to think about. So overall, I really enjoy The Phantom Menace. Now, I'm going to do a full ranking of all the Star Wars movies on Saturday the 21st, after I see The Rise of Skywalker, and then I'll do my review of it on the 20th. I see it on the 19th, review it on the 20th, and I'll do a full ranking of all of these Star Wars movies on the 21st. But I really, really enjoy this movie. And I'll give you a spoiler. As of right now, without seeing Rise of Skywalker, I enjoy all the Star Wars movies. I think they're all great. They all have something to love. They all have some bad things. Even the best movie of all time, Revenge of the Sith, has one bad scene in it. But I think this movie gets way too much hate. It's not the most underrated movie of all time. That movie is going to come up tomorrow. But it's a great movie, I think. I really enjoy it. And every time I watch it, it just saddens me that not as many people enjoy it. I think there's a lot to enjoy in this movie. Darth Maul, too. I forgot to mention Darth Maul. How can I forget to mention Darth Maul? Darth Maul, a man of few words, so iconic. His lightsaber, when that lightsaber ignited for the first time, it was so cool. The acrobatics of his moves, the fluidity of his moves, the fact that he is a man of few words, but he's so... I vow to use this word more after watching this movie. He's so bombad is just so neat, and I love that his character continued on after this movie. Some people might think it was cheap that Darth Maul survived the fall. I disagree. I think the explanation made a lot of sense, and I think it gave us some fantastic episodes in the Clone Wars, and some of the best episodes in Rebels, and hopefully more episodes to come, and a sequel to Solo, hopefully, with more Darth Maul and Crimson Dawn stuff and Kira. So Darth Maul, I think, was fantastic in this movie. And Palpatine, Ian McDiarmid is, in my mind, without a doubt, the best actor in this trilogy. He's so good. And I think George Lucas showed so well how smart Palpatine was, and how much everything that happened in Star Wars was his doing and went according to his plan. And it just, I'll talk more about Palpatine and everything that happened with him after Rise of Skywalker and his whole story after that. But Ian McDiarmid, man, he was so good as the Emperor. He is so good as the Emperor. My favorite performance in the prequel trilogy. So this video's getting a bit long, but overall, I love The Phantom Menace. I think it's a fantastic movie. If you haven't seen it yet, somehow, I would recommend it to you. If you're doing a marathon like me, a watch marathon, one movie a day until Rise of Skywalker, let me know in the comments down below. And also let me know in the comments what you thought of The Phantom Menace. What are your thoughts? Do you like it? Do you not like it? And why? Make sure you guys subscribe and hit the bell so you can stay up to date every day with the recent news of Star Wars and Disney for daily Disney Dingus Daily episodes at 7 p.m. Eastern. If you enjoyed, smash that like button down below. Let's see if we can get to, I don't know, maybe 5 likes for this video. That would be greatly appreciated. You can follow me on Twitter at Dingus_Bringus. Also check me out on other channels on YouTube, Dingus Bringus, where I do a daily video just like this at 3 p.m. Eastern covering the news of the day with Marvel and DC. Thank you so much for watching. Have a terrific day. And this has been your daily dose of Dingus.